So welcome everybody to this session. So today we're going to see, the user experience comparison between Syncro and SuperOps. So we have a lot of champions of SuperOps joining us today, like a lot of MSPs who've been using SuperOps for a while, who found success with respect to the platform. So we have all of them joining us on this session. So one of the main reason why we wanted to do this session is of late we have a huge influx of users trying to move away from Syncro to SuperOps in terms of getting a comprehensive tool for their MSPs to set up their business, sort of have all the workflows in one place, and like sort of the unified experience. And as they scale their business, they wanted to see what has worked best for them in SuperOps and get started with that for their businesses. So today we have a lot of folks. Just yeah, yes, I think yeah, got that. Sorry, there was some uh, communication on the backstage I want to get clarified. So yeah, so today we have champions of SuperOps who have previously used Syncro. So the idea of the entire discussion is to see what worked really well for them in SuperOps. So as an MSP, one of the key things that you always look for is the best tech stack that you have to choose for your business while setting up your process, because the tech stack is not something that you're going to implement for today. As you scale your business, you want your tech stack to accommodate the workflows and the complexities of the business that you work with. So that is something that we wanted to discuss over the call today, because we wanted to see what has helped these MSPs who have joined in from Syncro to SuperOps, who jumped from Syncro to SuperOps, what they like the best about the tool today, what are the experiences that they faced earlier, what are the challenges that they wanted to specifically solve for, and what were they able to accomplish in SuperOps that help them sort of streamline their processes, increase their productivity, make sure that the technicians don't ballpark time. There's no loss in revenue because of ballparking. They have complete visibility over their business insights, where their technicians are spending a lot of time and so on. So these are some of the key the ideas or key pointers that we are going to be discussing over the session today. And with no further ado, I'm just going to bring onto the stage the list of our speakers. We have Danny Tobon, Paco Lebron, Kenny Montgomery, and Mike Devinsitis joining us today on this session. So, yeah. Hello, Paco.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching this.
Amazing. Hi, Danny. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on board.
Amazing. We have Kenny and Mike joining in as well. So, yes. So,
good morning.
I've given enough introduction about what the session is going to be. Now, you're all excited to know this about the speakers. So I want to introduce myself first. I'm Sriram. So I head the solutions engineering team for North America. So my area of expertise is basically onboarding users onto SuperOps. Me and my team over at SuperOps, we help users migrate from different tools like a Syncro or an Atera and make the transition as seamless and easy as possible for the MSPs. So that is sort of my expertise. I've worked with a few of these MSPs on the panel today as well. So that's it about me. I just want to quickly hand it over to Paco and the rest of the uh, panelists today to just sort of quickly introduce themselves. Like how long you've been running your MSP business, what are you up to, and how's your 2024 looking like?
Sure. Again, my name is Paco Lebron. I run Prodigy Techs, which is an MSP based out of Chicago, Illinois. And that's Chicago proper, for those that know the inside joke behind that. And so we've been around for 12 years and really just focusing on both, obviously, the cybersecurity side of the house, but also the managed IT support as well for those in the construction, manufacturing, and also inside of the private healthcare space as well. A little bit about what I'm up to, for those that may know me from other avenues. I do run an online podcast that has turned into a community called MSP Unplugged with my co-hosts, Corey Kirkendall and Rick Smith. And we also help translate a lot of those items to help with growth, which SuperOps has been a big partner of ours, helping with that as well. And then lastly, for 2024, again, it's one of those things I like to talk about for the last quarter, which is our fourth quarter living, is really preparing to step into 2025 on a strong foot. So that's a little bit over of about myself.
Amazing. Over to you, Danny.
I can't top that off, Paco. I think you have a lot of experience. So I'm Danny Tabone. I'm with T Squared. I'm the CEO. We've been in business for 10 years, and we're focused on accounting firms. So we're trying to have them navigate the technology world, especially for accounting firms that have a lot of personal information, and just having them understand like how do they need to protect their information, have a good compliance foundation. So yeah, I've been in the MSP industry for about 12 years, and I haven't left because I love the industry. It just keeps you on your toes every day. You keep learning. So I'm very passionate about technology.
Amazing, Danny. So thank you so much for that. Kenny, over to you.
Kenny Montgomery, I own CyberTech Solutions. We're a small MSP out of Winchester, Tennessee. Mainly do a lot of local government stuff, trying to get them actually more on track with just any type of cybersecurity. We found a lot of local governments have none, so we're kind of focusing on that.
Got that. Thank you so much, Kenny. So finally, we have Mike Divincidis joining us. So let's hear it from you, Mike.
Hey guys, my name is Mike DiVincentis. I'm the founder president of SurePoint IT. We are in a small rural town in Northeast Georgia, so about an hour and a half north of Atlanta. We cover all general business, healthcare, you name it. I mean, we're in a very rural area. So one thing is, we're a small MSP. Been in business for about 15 years, a little over 15 years now. Started small, grew big, back smaller a little bit. We like the way that is. All the businesses that we handle with all of our clients, we mostly, like everybody else on here, dealing with cybersecurity. So, we're looking for things that we can provide fast to our clients and keep them safe and protected, just like everybody else. That's the thing that we're worried about mostly. Business has changed a little bit because we're, seem to be dangling a lot of things in front of our clients, managing them. But love SuperOps. Glad to be here.
Amazing. So thank you so much for that, Mike. Thank you so much, everyone, for briefly introducing yourselves. So, one of the things that I find very interesting is you all come from a lot of experience, and one thing that I've always noticed among MSPs is the whole factor of community, as a sense of community you all have. So you all one of the things that I always wonder about, I've attended a lot of tech events, right? Like the ASCII events or the Tech Tribe events, whatever MSP events that you want to describe. The common point that I've always found is you guys really like your job. You guys like what you're doing. You're very passionate about a certain thing. You are not in this because you have something to do for your living. So you're here for a reason, and you've been delivering these extraordinary services over a period of time. So that's something that I've always admired about the MSPs as such, been working with them for a really long time. And another thing that I've noticed is all of you come from a different set of challenges as well. You are all MSPs in common, but every company or every organization has a very specific challenge. So I just wanted to probe a little more and understand what your team structure looks like. How big is your company? What is the current challenge that you're having in terms of scaling? So just wanted to know a bit more about that. Anybody who wants to go? So. Yes.
I can jump in. So currently for us, we have 5, I guess there's about 10 of us right now. There's 5 that are dedicated to our help desk and level 1 support. We have 2 internal that are essentially our administrative staff, customer success management. Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 others that are kind of filling in the coordinator and appointment setting roles. So we're about 10 people or so, along with myself, and really just driving the how to make sure that the right hand and the left hand talk to each other. And the company has been kind of our challenge for probably the last several years.
Amazing, amazing. That's nice to know, Paco. So yes, Danny, what are your challenges? Like, how does your team look like?
Yeah, so just like Paco, the especially with smaller MSPs, we wear so many hats, and team members have different roles. So having kind of like those standards together, knowing what the responsibilities are from each team member is really critical. And that's in the
Mhm.
past we've been struggling through that, trying to kind of have that structure. We're a team of five right now, and each team member is basically in their own area. So client success, we have one team member, and then we kind of go back and forth with another one. We have a automation specialist. We have a cybersecurity and compliance person, and then the strategist person that's meeting with the clients, making sure that they understand where they are and helping them kind of navigate the technology side.
Amazing, Danny. That's great to know. Kenny, how about you?
We're about the same size as Danny. We've grown to about 5 techs now. Three of them just recently came on in the last year. They're recent graduates of a tech school. They're learning and doing well. We have one that's really a cybersecurity specialist, a VM specialist, and then some level 1 help desks. And it's like they said, it's just really a challenge of getting in there and being a smaller MSP is we wear so many hats and learning everything of the business.
Amazing, amazing. Thanks for that, Kenny. Yes, Mike, let's hear it from you. Yep.
Yeah, Kenny, you mentioned wearing many hats. That's what I do. I'm a solo MSP, so I'm the smallest out of all of you guys. But that's not uncommon with what I'm finding. And you mentioned the community. There's a lot. I mean, when you start an MSP, you're a sole guy. It's my choice to be small. It's not from lack of anything else. It's just like I was small. I grew big, and then we went through some challenges with COVID, like everybody else did, and just decided to keep it small. But I do have some part-time people that I contract out some projects and things like that. I mean, it's not like that I don't do other things, but
Mhm.
specifically using with SuperOps, I'm the guy in SuperOps handling all the the jiggling all the plates or juggling all the plates, and it's you guys know how that is. I mean, you really do. But I think a lot of people on this call really understand that. But yeah, that's me. It's just me. So
Amazing, amazing. That's great, Mike. Because like I've seen, I've worked with you in the past. I can understand where you're are coming from. So, all the MSPs on the panel that we have today are very versatile in terms of handling their business challenges. Like we see, solo entrepreneurs, solo MSPs who are, rocking the ship all the time. And like when you're scaling your MSP, right, you have specific challenges that you're addressing based on your team size. So I'm really glad to have all of you here. So I think we're done with the introductions. Like we've given people, a pretty good idea of who we are, what we do, and what are the challenges that we have. So thank you so much, everybody, for that. And the first thing on the list that I want to discuss is so since this is something specific for Syncro users who are trying to make the switch or who are considering Syncro or who are considering SuperOps over Syncro, like I want to start with like you all have used Syncro at some point, and you've been working on the system, and at some point you felt like, hey, there is something that I could change about my business. I feel like I'm spending a lot of time in here that I don't really need to spend. So I want you to talk about those areas. Like when did you actually feel like you wanted a change or you wanted some sort of improvement in your tech stack? Like what process of yours did it stagnate that you wanted to consider a change? I wanted to just touch upon the pain points that you had with Synchro at some point, so that we can see then how we were able to overcome that. So, Paco, we can start with you.
Sure. So I think it probably makes sense to start kind of where the problem started happening for myself internally. So I was actually a solo business owner for, we've been in business for 12. I was solo for 7 of those 12. It's only been in the last 5 years that we've had employees. And so because of that rush back in 2020, because with COVID, we just received such a demand of work. And then I got to the point where there were just some roles that I didn't really want to take care of. And so what ended up happening was, since I quote unquote rushed in bringing in employees, back in my corporate days, I was a terrible manager. And so not being able to, understand that now you are a manager, not a, no longer a founder and controlling of what's going on with results and expectation of your clients, have become very difficult. And so from that, utilizing Syncro as the platform, I had put so much in as a solo business owner that it was very hard to unwind what I had already inputted for transparency to my team. So the phrase I like to say is, unfortunately, I just knew where all the mines were buried. And so what would happen is sometimes my internal technicians at the time, or a customer success manager, or even my office manager at the time, tried to do something and then would trip something up because I knew something about that client. So I didn't really properly document. I didn't really do a lot of the things that I should have been doing. So when trying to do those things inside of the Syncro platform, that's where I kind of started struggling a little bit. I think the biggest piece, and I kind of alluded to this earlier, was the left hand not knowing what the right hand was doing. The way that we were entering ticket structures, comments, how ticket replies were coming in, it was a bit of a mess for us to try and filter through. And some of my team members were not very technically savvy. So it was very hard to know what was the exact update that was going on in that particular ticket. It just tended to be a little bit messy on the way that it was kind of translating for us, on the way it was formatting on how we had that set up. The other piece to it was we never knew who was working on a specific ticket. I had brought in an old friend of mine who owned an MSP at the time for over 25 years. We restructured the Syncro system. We put the IT documentation. We tried to do some of these items, but unfortunately, there was a lot of manual process that caused us a lot more pain than it should have been. And so, trying to put a manual status of active to hopefully that we know that the technician is actually working on it. We would never know until we see the update was created, or I forgot what the message was at the time, to know that someone added a comment note on the ticket, not wasting time. And so there was a lot of that going back and forth where the coordination was very difficult to try and go back and forth at the time. And again, this was over a year ago.
Got that back. Thank you so much for putting that out in a really nice way, right? So I understand where you're coming from. So I've been working with a lot of MSPs. One of the common things that I've always identified is this is their tech stack being disjointed. Like you have a separate ticketing platform, you have a separate RMM platform. Irrespective of the unified solution that you choose, it's never really unified because the communication doesn't happen from the left to right, like you mentioned. And like if you notice, one of the smallest things that you mentioned is you just want to see if a technician is working on a ticket or not, so that I don't want to work on it because I already have another resource working on it. So like, for instance, if you see in SuperOps, you have an agent collision where if you see another technician working on it or just typing out a response, or if he's just looking at it, you would be notified. So this is not basically reinventing the wheel as such. These are just smaller cogs in the wheel that makes it faster. So like, I understand where you're coming from. So thank you so much for that, Paco. Yes, Danny. So we'll start with you then next.
Yeah. So I agree with Paco. I think it has to do a lot with collaboration, right? It's what you guys are describing of like a unified place where, hey, let's make all these systems work together and not like against you. So what we were doing with Syncro, and we found a way like around it, right? We kind of cut some corners because we couldn't fix it within the platform itself, was the communication internally with the technicians. As an MSP, besides you communicating with your clients, you want to make sure that your technicians are in sync with each other. So one huge thing about SuperOps, which I could tell you guys really understand MSPs and how they work, is you put that inside of the system. So just the ads mention, it's a huge win, because now as technicians, now we can work inside of that case, and we can talk to each other and say, hey, how are we doing with this? So what we were doing before with Syncro is they didn't really have that. I don't know if they do now. We also left like a year ago, but we would kind of take that notification back to Teams, and within Teams we would kind of communicate with each other. So what would happen there is miscommunications, balls will be dropped because it wasn't in the same platform. So that was one of our biggest ones. The other one was the lack of patch management, trust. Things were just not working properly, or they just work out of nowhere, and we just didn't know, what happened, right? And that affects the end user, which ultimately, affects us, because now we have to explain to our clients what happened. So those were like our biggest struggles.
Got that, Danny. And like I really like a lot of you mentioning the ticketing aspect of it, because it's very simple. Like you have all the context in one place. Like being at SuperOps, one of the things that I really like about the platform is the simplicity, where like within the ticket, apart from the client conversations, you have a separate tab where technicians can talk to themselves. And something that a lot of people have also liked is the existence of a side conversation. So sometimes you have this vendor that you have to talk to, and you initiate a separate email thread from Outlook to talk to them, and then you come back to the tickets. There's a lot of context that's lost between a ticket and an Outlook. So those are few things that have been avoided, because like again it comes back to the single pane of glass, where you have all the context that you're looking for a ticket. So that is something that I've seen a lot of people really like. So thanks for that. And your point with respect to patch management is something that I've heard as well. Like these occasional errors, like you don't really know when the schedule is going out to the end users, whether the patches are completely done or not. The status is not being fetched, like the false positives that's being shown on the asset. Because at the end of the day, you are the face of your company to your clients. So you are accountable. Like you can blame the tool all you want, right? Because it's not Syncro they trust, it's Danny they trust in terms of making this work. So I understand like that's something that has to be sorted as such. So thanks for that, Danny. So yes, over to you, Kenny. Like I would like to listen to your thoughts as well.
So like Paco, I kind of started off solo and didn't do the documentation as well as I should have. And then when COVID hit, kind of grew really quick, really fast. And I learned really quick that, I knew where things were, and I might know what the password is, but my technicians didn't, or something along that lines. So we had to find a place that we could keep, all the different passwords and everything on there. And then really with Syncro, it's just things didn't flow very well like they do with SuperOps. The web GUI and everything is a lot easier to navigate around. With Syncro, we always found that we would ask questions and they'd be like, oh, well, you can use this script for it, but you get the script from their library and it didn't work. And then you ask them for help and they'd get back to you in 2 to 3 days and they'd be like, oh, well, we can't help with that script. As to where with SuperOps, I can't stress enough how well y'all's help desk. I mean, we ask a question, usually in 15 minutes, we have somebody on there trying to help us get it fixed. It's just, it really comes in really handy knowing that if we can't get it done, that y'all can help us, and it's quick response times, which then goes to the end user, makes us look good because we're able to get that fixed in a timely manner. And with Syncro, their help, it might be 2 to 3 days before they come back and be like, oh, well, we can't help you with that actually, so that was a lot. And then just growing from a single person to now having 3 other technicians that really, are there. It's great being able to show them how well SuperOps can flow and just being able to click through and not having to hunt where everything is. When you use Syncro, it kind of felt like you were stuck still in the 2000s. So,
Got
sorry, 2000s. I know we're still in the 2000s, but so yeah, as you grow, I just think that SuperOps understands MSPs a lot better than what Syncro did.
That's great. That's great to hear, Kenny. Because one of the interesting things that, like you mentioned, right? What are the like you're not looking at solutions that can help you today. You're looking at solutions that can help you scale, right? So, in terms of having an IT documentation, so when you're starting out as an MSP, like you have these break fix scenarios, you have a couple of residential users trying to get things fixed, and then you move to a managed service model. So like it's about forecasting what you need as a business for your future as well. You did raise a great point with respect to documentation, which a lot of MSPs initially, when you're looking at tech stack, hey, I just need the PSA help desk and the RMM right now. Maybe I'll try to sort out the documentation later. So one of the things that I found really helpful with respect to SuperOps for a lot of MSPs is the fact that you don't have to go out looking for a separate IT documentation module as such. So you have a documentation module, and that ties into your asset management as well. So I've seen one of the largest casinos in the US use SuperOps today, where they document all their training material and troubleshooting guides, and just associate that to an asset. So when they're looking at the asset, they have the piece of information right there. So that is something that has been really helpful. And talking about the unified experience, I've also observed a lot of people, using project management in SuperOps, which they didn't have in Syncro. Like they traditionally create tickets, which they leave it open for like a couple of weeks, but it's not necessarily a ticket, right? So that messes up with their SLAs, because now they've created a ticket for a project. So those are certain experiences people were able to avoid at scale as they were using SuperOps. Like when you grow as a company, when you have this rapid transition from a break fix to a managed service, from managing 10 clients to 50 and 100 clients, you don't want to stop and think about your tech stack. So you just want to scale. So that is something that I think SuperOps helps. So thanks for bringing that up. And special props for our support team as well. So if there's one thing that I'm 3000% confident, like leave out all the features, right? That's one thing that's common that I've heard from so many users, and it's out on G2 and other reviews as well. So we really value the time, because in the MSP world, time is money for you. Like, because how faster you get to the resolution, how faster you solve that solution and ensure that there's no downtime for your clients. So we want to enable you to do so. So, and like, I'm really glad that support has been incredible that way. So thank you so much for that, Kenny. And yes, finally, Mike, over to you. So how did you make this very Mike?
Just to follow up with basically what everybody else is. I mean, we're all here from Ex-Syncro customers, but I mean, I think we all have dealt with the same things. But the biggest thing for me was the UI that has been mentioned before. Very hard to find things. It definitely looks very much old. It didn't flow properly. So I mean, I'm the single person. So where everybody else here is talking about sharing information with other technicians and people, that doesn't apply to me as well. But it was hard for me to get from place to place. I mean, there's so many clicks and so many. It was a nightmare. And then lack of innovation. I mean, that was just something that we saw over and over and over again. When you did have a problem with something, you would ask support and it would take days. I mean, that has been mentioned before. I think Danny said that, Paco said that, but I mean, it was never really a solution. I try out SuperOps and I think everybody knows me in the support chat. I mean, it was like, whoa, what is this? I mean, the instant chat. I mean, that freaked me out. I was like, I ask a question and you get an answer like in 3 minutes, right? Or you get somebody saying, hey, I'm going to work on this. And then when you ask if something can be done about something that you're having a problem with, everybody's always, yes, we're gonna take care of that. We want to fix that for you. I mean, that was just like a breath of fresh air. So I think this was mentioned before, but the side conversations, when I was researching that just blew me away. So I was like, okay, I've definitely got to look at this, and it hasn't been it's been a great ride so far. So those are things that I dealt with before. Those are challenges, but I don't deal with those anymore. I mean, it's just you come in, you work, it works, and I do my job. I go, I'm done.
If I could add on to the support side as well, just to really highlight the benefit of the support. One, the support, the timing of it is pretty accurate of when you do use that chat feature, right? And the fact that not only do they reply on a consistent basis, but I don't know the time zones for when support is available, but you know, there are times where it's like Saturday in an evening or Sunday, and I'll sometimes will get either it'll say, hey, next hour, next day or whatever, but whatever that timing says, you know, I've gotten responses and answers over the weekend. And that's just because how either who's staffed, who's in the time zones, and what they're really trying to do. And then specifically, their SuperOps support of vendor management. And what do I mean by that? So we had a really big problem over the last week with some weird issue with Splashtop not working on one of the desktops. And so not only did SuperOps, you know, tested it, but realized, okay, there's something going on with Splashtop. Let me escalate a ticket directly to them. Versus hey, open up a ticket with Splashtop because we don't know what's going on. There's something going on with the streamer on your client's computer. So they help coordinate that whole thing and we got the issue fixed, right? And so the fact that they provided that onus and the follow-up instead of you having to chase them back for an answer has been great thus far. And then ultimately for us, really, I think the biggest thing, this is a phrase that a very good friend of mine that we all may know here, he likes to say, if the problem leads to Juan, Juan is the problem. And so essentially what I like to do is the fact that this chat is not just available for myself, but to the entire team. So if they run into issues or if there's something going on, if there's something I need to turn on, they will escalate it to support. Hey, I can't see this certain thing. Hey, it's because you don't have this permission. Now my team knows, hey, Paco, can you go ahead and turn this on, or whoever the admin is, to get whatever information that they may need to solve whatever issue that they have.
Amazing. Thank you so much for those points, because I like you really summed it up in terms of how great the support is and as the support has been. So one of the things that support has been really helpful for a lot of MSPs at scale is you hire a new technician, they're trying to figure SuperOps out right now because SuperOps is a relatively newer tool. They were also able to get on board with the tool as quickly as you did, because they were able to have that sort of interaction with support every time and get that sorted. And one of the things that Mike did mention, apart from support, which is the UI, the interface as such, that is something that a lot of people have mentioned as well. Not just with Syncro, with any legacy tools as well. So, like to perform a basic action, if it takes 13 to 14 clicks, that's not as intuitive as it is, right? So one of the things that like a lot of people have mentioned, like it be it very simple, something like dragging and dropping a ticket in a Kanban board from one technician to another technician to assign it. It's just a simple task that you do, but that takes 3 or 4 clicks in a different tool for you to accomplish it. So you got that. And he did talk about side conversations in SuperOps, which like it consolidates all the conversations you need for a particular ticket. And like whatever Kenny mentioned as well, right, with respect to reaching out to support and so on, like, and also having all the information in on the asset management side. So like sometimes when the agent is there, it doesn't collect enough information. You have to write a script to fetch that. One of the things that I've seen a lot of Syncro users be really excited about when they switch to SuperOps is the fact that we fetch the BitLocker encryption and the recovery key by default. So that is something that they've historically created a script for and executed on an asset every time. That's just a small thing. Everybody needs that BitLocker encryption information for something or the other. You want to run reports based on it. You want to do alerts based on it. Like as soon as they start testing out SuperOps, as soon as they install the agent, the fact that the BitLocker information and the recovery pops up, that's been like a really helpful for a lot of MSPs, and reduce that redundancy to use a lot more scripts than what you use today for your automation. So that is something that has been working really well as well. So thank you so much for talking about your pain points as such, like whatever you faced and what you were able to, rectify with respect to SuperOps as well. So the next thing that I wanted to, focus on is how has SuperOps, like apart from, so now you've transitioned from Synchro to SuperOps, how did that transition happen? Like you did mention the specific point is when you started looking for a new tool, and when you were transitioning into SuperOps, I just wanted to, get from your experience, what was that like the whole migration process into SuperOps, and how did it fit your workflows, and how fast did that happen?
I can start if I know Paco keeps going first. No, so I was really afraid. I'll be honest, I was really afraid because this is our critical app, right? So this is our baby. That's where we do all of our work. So, you probably from your side, you probably saw that we were really nervous about it, but once we contacted you guys, you're like, oh no, this is we'll take you through the whole steps, and it's not like any other vendor that maybe says like they're gonna help you, but then you have to do it on your own. So I felt like it was really you held our hand to the end, and it was really straightforward. I was really surprised that I was able to just get all the machines over to SuperOps so quickly. We were expecting this to be like months of like a lot of work, but it turned out to be really, really easy. So from our end, it worked out really well.
Amazing, Dari. Because I understand, right? So, as an MSP, migration is, of course, your concern because you're trying to run a business at the same time, looking to make the switch work for you and not take up a lot of resources. So, I'm really glad that we were able to, help you on that front. So, yes, anybody else want to share their experience in terms of migrating? At what point did you start looking at SuperOps, and what were your first impression as such? So.
Yeah, no, I agree with Danny. The migration was super simple. We were able to actually use Syncro to roll out SuperOps on all of our endpoints. And then we found a script and SuperOps scripting and was able to remove Syncro through SuperOps. I mean, I think we had 200 endpoints at the time and was able to do it within a day and a half at most. And like Danny, we were scared at first, but it really was simple. And any questions we had, their support was just right there to help us along the way.
Amazing, amazing. I'm really glad that you mentioned this scripting part as well, like how easy it was to move your endpoints to SuperOps, because we understood, right? We want to handhold you through the process because we understand that you are taking this gamble and looking at a new tool to set up your business from scratch on this tool. So we want to help you as much as possible. Interestingly, so like one of the reasons why we have this webinar in itself is we see a lot of users wanting to move away from Syncro, and I'm glad that you brought the whole point of script. Like one thing that I want to just quickly show you is we have the whole migration visit that's built out in SuperOps that'll help you, migrate all your stuff from your existing tool, which is Syncro in this case, to SuperOps directly. And one of the things that I want to highlight here is if you look at into our community, the uninstall Syncro script is one of the most downloaded scripts, as you see on the screen right now. So you have a lot of users using that script. So like if you're looking to migrate, like a lot of people have already done it and set up enough guides and a transition plan as well. So it's not going to take a long time for you to, get into the platform as such. So that is one thing that I wanted to talk about. And yes, apart from that, right? So, yes, Mike.
I'll just chime in on a second on all of that. Like I said earlier, the interface was definitely a breath of fresh air. It was really easy to find things. Transitioning over was not a big deal. I mean, we're all technicians, I think, at heart when we start our company. So we're techie, so we just run scripts on everything. Ran the script. It was really easy. Delete it install it from Syncro, delete it from SuperOps. Super easy. That was good. And then being able to find everything right after that, the additional information that we got from the agents being installed on the systems, like things popped in, populated exactly where we needed it to be. You did mention, I mean, it was something simple like like Bitdefender, right? Or not, I'm sorry, not Bitdefender, but BitLocker, yeah, the keys, right? So, I mean, it was like, it was always, I think, Kenny, you mentioned this before, it's like run a script and, fire off this thing and then pull some data in. The agent just automatically pulled that in and it populated it. And I thought, okay, that's cool. So I can deal with that. So,
Yeah.
but it was nice and simple. It's like the things that we need are there, and obviously we can still run scripts and pull information into custom fields and do all of that, just like you can, but you don't have to reinvent the wheel because it's just there for you to use. So that was my experience.
Amazing, Mike. And so, yeah, this time around, we're hearing it from Paco the last. So, yes, let's hear it from you, Paco.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Ultimately, the question is how easy is it to migrate, or what was the experience, right? And so for us, we've used quite a few systems before Syncro and migrating to Syncro and things of that nature. But Syncro was the longest that we were on that platform. And by on there, we had different phases of our business. We were a computer repair shop initially, and we were on the repair shopper platform. Then Syncro came out in 2017, and we since migrated into Syncro, still with a hybrid approach. So all of those tickets came over, right? And so being able to utilize Syncro and then stopping doing computer repair and break fix back in 2019 as a full-fledged MSP model, there was a lot of old data that was in there along with RMM. And I think for everyone here, switching RMMs, fairly easy because you can do it with a script or you can import a field, things of that nature. But I think what everyone is worried about, right, or gets nervous or has had a terrible experience who have gone through it is switching PSAs. And you go through different scenarios. Either A, you have to keep both systems in tandem, wasting resources, especially for a solo MSP or a smaller MSP. The resources have to go where they count, right? The second piece of it is when you work through the migration, whether it's a CSV or things of that nature, it doesn't collect all of the data that you need inside of the system. And so, or it'll go into a mismatch status. And then you just say, well, screw it, blow everything out. I'm just going to start fresh, right? It's often the frustration that we have. That was not the case with SuperOps. Now, SuperOps does have those options that obviously that you had showed in there, but you all do partner with a third-party migration company that does help with custom work. And what that company was able to do was not only transfer the PSA data successfully, but also was able to pull the data that was relevant for, which was for me, it was 2019. And later, I didn't need anything prior because those are all break fix clients that I just really didn't care about. So once we worked through those discussions and through SuperOps' help and through the company that for the migration Wiz, that they allowed us to pull in all that data properly and intact. And now I don't have to pay for another system to go through for ticket data. I don't have to worry about, did I make the right connections on certain things? There was a little bit of stuff going on because there's a different way of doing it in Syncro than it is in SuperOps as far as accounts. But for the most part, it allowed for the ability to move into a way that made it a flowing and a proper way. So for us, it was very smooth. It went very well. And we had a member with us every step of the way when there was concerns. And again, the elephant in the room, can you move PSA data over along with the RMM? The question is yes, or the answer is yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Paco. I think somebody mentioned, wanted to know about the details of the company as well. So we partner with Help Desk Migration. So you have PSA and your RMM data that can be easily moved into SuperOps. But with respect to ticket migration, like Paco mentioned, you wanted to do it the right way. So based on the volume, based on the data that you want to keep and the data that you want to ignore, you would be able to customize it and bring a certain piece of ticket information along with your client and the asset data into SuperOps. So that transition is going to be taken care of. So thank you so much for that. And I think we've discussed the pain points and what's been really helpful in SuperOps. We've discussed how the migration process is and we have another 15 minutes. The next thing that I wanted to discuss is what are your goals for your organization and how has SuperOps helped you achieve them? Taking a scenario, let's say I have this specific piece of my business that has always been concerning me. It can be either time tracking, it can be either summarizing the work logs or so on. So similarly, like what is one thing that you wanted to correct and you were able to achieve with SuperOps? Like how does SuperOps align to your business goals?
I'll jump in, I guess. So, for us, again, it's that right hand, left hand thing, right? And so, as small as knowing someone is working on a specific ticket. And so specifically, what's been great is, you have the avatar that's literally on the ticket where you have the three phases. It's either A, it's solid. That means they're viewing the ticket. B, it's there's a little pencil that they're actually updating the ticket. Or C, it's faded, meaning that they're idle, but they're in the ticket. And so it's a good opportunity to say, hey, do you have an update that you're trying to type in? Like there's now that communication you can have internally, and we use Microsoft Teams to help with some of those items. Being able to do that along with the mention feature has been really helpful. I just ran through with my team yesterday because they didn't realize that they can customize the dashboard for widgets and things of that nature. So I allowed them, or I basically essentially told them all to put the mentions widget on. So now when they first jump in, they'll see, I think it's the last five, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the last five mentions where there's needed assistance for a ticket that they may not necessarily be assigned to, but they're inquiring for some help. And so allowing them to know that there's a ticket being followed that they need some input on to help succeed for the closure of that ticket.
Exactly. So as soon as you mention somebody on a ticket, so they get tagged as a follower of the ticket, so they can not only see the tickets that they're assigned to, the technicians would individually have a view that the tickets they are following, so that they can easily follow up with that as well. And yes, so over to you, Danny. So I just want to know, like, what part of SuperOps did you really like, and how is that aligned with your business goals?
Yeah, so I think I don't think I mentioned this, but I think when we were looking, so we started looking at different alternatives for RMM and PSA because we saw the Gen AI just going crazy, right? And this was like end of 2023, and we were like, hey, is there any tools that is using ChatGPT to help us? Because again, right, like, hey, let's use AI. Let's utilize the technology that's out there to help us out as much as possible. And you guys can see that Monica is like, it was just out there as a beta. I don't know if it's still beta or, but yeah, that's amazing. Like being able to summarize the cases, because again, it could be a case that's just two sentences or like two going back and forth, but it could be a ticket that's like weeks long. So like an engineer that the ticket was escalated to, you want to see like, what can you summarize what has happened here and what are the next steps? So we're excited on what you guys are going to bring next. I know this is something amazing that I have seen from you guys. You're just continuing to improve the platform, and every day there's something new, which I didn't see that in Syncro. Like I just felt like I was behind. My clients had a better practice management system with a lot more technology than the actual IT and the technology person that was helping them. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys are coming up with AI, and like, hey, can you help us, like maybe a technician that's not too technical, help us like, hey, this is what can fix it. And by you seeing the knowledge base that you put into the system, hey, this is the article that can help fix this issue, or this is the script that can help that. So I'm excited to see what that brings. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Danny, because like all these conversations, naturally segue into the AI component as well. So, and we wanted to do the AI properly as well, because a lot of tools out there, they leverage ChatGPT or OpenAI into their platform, but we wanted not to have just a plugin within our platform, but sort of leverage the OpenAI's framework to help technicians, like how you mentioned. Like you have a lot of field technicians who are randomly typing notes as they are at their client site, but you want to rephrase them and put it in a nice way on the invoices. So I just want to quickly give you a sneak peek of since you mentioned that Monica AI, right? So, like you can sign up for a trial and test it out. But I just want to quickly, give you that like where you would be able to, select a particular phrase and you would be able to just rephrase it. So right now with the Monica AI, you will also be able to change the tone of the conversations that you're using right now, where like you can have it in a certain way. And like let's say you want to type out something very basic, but you want to send it in a nice way to your end user. So you have technicians who are not tech savvy, you like who don't want to spend a lot of time basically drafting emails. So like Monica is able to solve that for you. And this is something that you have. And apart from that, like these are other options that you have as well, where you can ask the AI to write the vendor email. So we earlier discussed side conversations. You can leverage the AI to just write those vendor emails for you. And you also have the ability to like summarize the work log. So let's say I'm at a client side, I can just type in something like, hey, I did XYZ and fixed this issue for them. So I can't send that out to my client. So I can summarize all the work that I did to just say, hey, this is what I did with John the other day, so that I can send it over to my end users. And like, of course, you have summarized tickets. So which is something very small, but it has been really helpful, right? So for instance, sometimes you just get an email stating, what's the update on this ticket? You've been working on so many tickets at once. You want to know actually what's going on in that particular ticket. So the summarize AI just gives you a quick glimpse of that. So that is something that has been really great as well. So thank you for mentioning that. And yes, like final thoughts from Kenny and Mike, like what part of SuperOps did you like the most, and like how is it aligned with your business goals as such?
For me, SuperOps, I really like where it's got the tabs. It's a lot like Chrome. So, because I do a lot of work from home. So I like that if I'm working on something here at the shop and then I get pulled away and then I end up going to the house, I can pull it up and all the tabs that I had open before are open right there. And I continue where I was at instead of going, shoot, where was I? What was I working on? Well, when I pull up SuperOps, that's what I was working on. It's right there. And then with the tabs, it's really easy to train some of the newer technicians, because they're so used to using Chrome in the tabs. So when they come in, you show them, hey, you open this, and it's just like, it just feels really smooth to them because it's what they're used to using.
Amazing. Got that. So the internal tab, that's just a small UI change, but a lot of people really like it because what they found really annoying with other RMMs is the fact that you have 30 different Chrome tabs open on the top, whereas with SuperOps, it's easier for you to toggle. And even if you go somewhere and then log in back to your instance, you have all of these internal tabs intact, so that you can just pick up from where you left. So that's just a small thing that a lot of technicians really like. So finally, over to you, Mike.
Yeah, no, I agree with the UI being nice. It's nice, because like I said, I'm solo, so I'm working at my desk and I have to go to a client and I open up my laptop, log in, boom, it's all right there. So I mean that's nice and neat. What I look forward to, and what would help me drive my business is just more simple, ease of use, right? So one of the reasons that I'm here with SuperOps is that the innovation. We talked about the AI with Monica. I mean, that has been such a nice feature. Just being able to, like, I don't have anybody to ask questions to because I'm a solo guy. So having the AI generate some extra things, or some additional things that I didn't really think about, writing a text, it's nice and neat. I can just pop it right in there. It's super simple. I can have it create an email. I can add it to the work log. I track my time. I mean, it's amazing, and I look forward to what you guys are bringing. Always looking forward to. I mean, just the advancements that you guys have made since I've been here. I've been SuperOps for a little over a year now, and the amount of advancements that you just continually make. I mean, it's like every month is something new. I see little things here and there in between that. We just get the updates. You've got a public roadmap that, that was something else that we all had dealt with before. We had no idea what was coming. We couldn't make any plans for our businesses. Should we do this? Should we do that? So there's a lot of questions, but if you have a question, you ask, you get an answer. Okay, cool. If you want to see something, you ask. It's like, yeah, we're going to do that. What? You're going to do it? Okay, cool. When are you going to do it? Well, we plan on doing it maybe next quarter. But then it always comes out before that. So you're like, if you really like to drive innovation yourself with your vendors, they listen. I mean, that's what excites me, is that it's always something new, something better, makes my life easier, and I just get to work on my clients' problems when they have problems. But that I'm very happy, very, very happy customer.
Amazing. That's something that we love to hear, Mike. So thank you so much for that. You pretty much summed up, whatever everybody said in terms of your experience. I'm really glad that we could make this session happen for the other Synchro users who are looking for a switch as well. So first of all, a big thank you to all of you panelists for taking your time out in terms of doing this for the benefit of the community, and for SuperOps to sort of explain how it has worked really well for you. So thank you so much for all your pointers as such. I think for everybody who's listening right now, I hope the session was really helpful in terms of getting a sneak peek into what SuperOps does, how it has helped users move away from Synchro and set up their business workflows. So there's much more to SuperOps than whatever we've discussed on call today. So we discussed the certain differentiators that the people on the panel today really loved. If you are looking to take a look at SuperOps, you want to explore SuperOps as such, so that is something that we urge you to do. So we have let me just quickly share my screen to show you the breakout room as such. So you can just reach out to our team to let us know if you are interested in looking at the tool today. And this is something that I was told to share at the end of the session. So everybody who's joining the session today gets 25% exclusive off on the first year of their subscription. So you can just join our breakout room, or just reach out to us. So for all the attendees of the session today, so you would be able to just join us and let us know if you're interested to look at SuperOps. We can set up a demo for you to understand specifically your workflows, what you're trying to achieve with respect to SuperOps, and see how we can add value there. So that is something that we'll be able to help you with. So thank you so much everyone for joining us on this session today. I hope this was helpful, and like I mentioned, just feel free to reach out to us. So we have our team on the chat as well. So if you're interested in taking a look at SuperOps, so you can always reach out to us. We can set up some time to give you a quick walkthrough of the tool and see how we go from there. Yes. So thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all had great insights from this conversation as well. So good luck to you and all of your businesses. We hope to grow along with you as you grow as a business. And absolutely, thank you so much again for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.